Hey guys, my name is Dice and we're here at YogaGlo. This is gonna be a 5-minute practice for those of you that have just gone through a run, maybe a ride, or just a very big workout. It's a great way to wind down and finish out your day. Let's go practice. Hey guys, let's get this practice started. So we're gonna work on helping those of you that have been hitting the gym hard or have been riding a lot or running a lot. We need to help you open up certain areas of the body that tend to be tight from all this exercise, all this activity that you're doing. One of the specific areas is the hip flexor muscle, which is really at the front of your hip. And this also ties into your quads as well as your psoas. But these are the muscles or the group of muscles that do help you to bring the knee up towards the abdomen. So when you're running, when you're riding, this motion right here, you're gonna end up tightening these muscles. They get really, really strong, but you need to open them back up. So we're gonna do that first with something we call Anjaneyasana, or it's really just a low lunge with the knee down. So to start, you can start off in a tabletop position. This is probably a good place to be. You're gonna step your right foot forward. So once you step your right foot forward, one thing I want you to note, there is a little bit of alignment here. You wanna end up with your feet hips distance. If you end up with your feet crossed, you're not only gonna be walking a tightrope, but your pelvis also then is fairly narrow and closed off. And you wanna feel spacious in this area. So making sure your feet are hips distance. Your back toes, you can curl them under if you'd like to for more power, or you can be on the top of the foot. Either way, it works just fine. Once you end up here, you're gonna make sure your right knee's over your right ankle. You're gonna slowly upright the spine by bringing your palms to your right thigh. So notice in this shape, you might be fairly tight. You might be more in this kind of shape where your left hip and left knee are in line. That is perfectly fine. If you feel like you can go a little further, you can slide your right foot forward and start to bend deeper into it. In this, you'll start to feel a nice big pull through the front of the left hip, feel a nice deep stretch. Use the leverage of the arms to push down to lift the chest up and breathe into the hip. So you don't have lungs in your left hip, but you want to think about moving energy and space into that left frontal hip point. And just hold here. As you start to bend into the front knee, if your right knee goes beyond your toes, it might be going too far for the knee, just make sure the knee stays above the ankle. If it feels easy enough, you just slide further forward. We got a few more breaths, just holding, pushing down. Feel like challenging yourself for the last 2 or 3 breaths. Maybe you reach your arms up and see what it's like to find stability through the legs here. I want you to take a deep inhale no matter where you are. And exhale, I want you to bring the hands down to your mat. So you're either gonna step back into your tabletop or even a shorter tabletop, whatever works for you, right? And then from there, we're gonna step our left foot forward. Once you step your left foot forward again, find that alignment, feet hips distance. You're not walking that tightrope, so just make sure there's that hips distance. Back foot, your choice. Distance in the pose, make sure it works for you. Don't want the knee to go beyond the toes. You wanna find that nice stack of left knee over left ankle. Right hip can be in front of the knee or it can be stacked. It works with your body, whatever works, all right? Once you're there, make sure both hands are on the front thigh. Spine is going up towards the ceiling through the crown of the head. Belly is lightly lifted, and you wanna feel this nice deep stretch through the front of your right hip. Again, think about the areas that you use so much when you bring the knee up as you pedal your bike or as you run. You wanna make sure that you're opening this area back out. Few deep breaths. Continue to lift the chest up, try not to fold forward. If it feels right to you, maybe for the last few, you can reach your arms up. Just feel the side body grow long, reach high through the fingers. You can look up if you want to really test your balance. You can even close your eyes. There's always ways to make this more challenging. 3, 2, and 1. You're gonna bring your hands down, step it back to that tabletop. The closer your knees are to your hands, the easier it'll be in the balance. The further you go back, of course, the more you gotta work your belly. So you choose there. Now from here, we're gonna go into something called pigeon prep. And what this really is, this is a big outer hip opener. So if you do a lot of squats, or really if you cycle or run a lot, you're gonna definitely be using your outer hips or your glutes quite a bit, just to help you explode away from the floor and move in a rapid fashion. So we wanna open this area. And in order to open this area, we need to do something called external rotation of your thigh bone, which means you need to be able to take your knee and move it out, which will create this rolling of your thigh. So this is the first pose we're gonna do. And what we're gonna do here is we're gonna take our right leg forward, and you wanna end up with your right knee almost behind your right palm. You wanna end up with your right foot behind your left palm. So in a way, you're trying to make a nice parallel shin to the front of your mat or to the front of wherever you are. But if that doesn't go well, you can always point the foot and put the shin at an angle. Most important, you wanna make sure your right knee is to the outside of the hip, not underneath your belly. So you're not trying to fold over the thigh like this. You wanna make sure the knee's outside. Once you're here in this shape, look over your left shoulder, make sure the left foot's in line with the left hip, and then you're gonna slowly fold over, walking your hands forward. You should feel a nice big stretch through the outer right hip. If you do this pose and you end up rolling over to the side, that's something to consider. You may need to support your outer right hip and hold yourself up. And breathe deep into the hip. Maybe you're on your forearms, maybe you rest your hands down. For another 3. 2, and 1. You're gonna inhale, look forward. Actually, you're gonna come up onto your palms. Now, from this position, you're gonna keep your right leg on the floor the way it is. I want you to lean onto your right hip, your bent leg. Slowly take your back leg, your left leg, and send it forward. You're gonna place the sole of your right foot up against your left inner thigh. And this is a pose we call Janu Shirsasana, or knee to head pose. If the knee is hovering, you may wanna put something underneath the knee just so you can push down. Keep your left toes facing the ceiling. Left fingertips next to you. Inhale, reach your right arm up. Exhale, reach forward. Right hand to the outer edge of your left foot. Maybe it's to the outer edge of your left knee. Most important here is that right leg is staying grounded. Left toes facing up. You might feel a nice deep hamstring stretch on the left leg. Also the low back stretch or an inner groin stretch on the right side. Stay here for another 3, 2, 1. So you're gonna be coming from this shape here. I want you to lean onto your right hip, and you're gonna lean forward over the leg. You're gonna see if you can take that left leg back behind you, put your hands down, come back to that tabletop. Let's get into that second side. So you're gonna bring your left knee behind your left wrist, your left foot behind your right wrist. Right, so you're gonna end up in this shape again. Make sure the left knee's to the outside of the hip. Look over your right shoulder, make sure the right foot's in line with your hip, and then slowly fold on over. If you're tipping over onto one side and you don't feel too balanced, maybe you prop something up underneath your outer left hip to give you support and get your pelvis to be neutral. A few deep breaths, breathing into the outer left hip. 3, 2, 1. From there, slowly upright the spine. From here, you're gonna lean into your left hip. Keep your left leg on the ground. Take your back leg, your right leg, swing it forward. You're gonna place the sole of your left foot up against your inner right thigh. Right knee, right toes face the ceiling. Left knee, try to ground it. Right fingertips next to you. Inhale, reach your left arm up. Exhale, left hand to the outer edge of your right foot. And you're either gonna stay here upright. Some of you will be able to fold. Again, pretty big hamstring stretch for the back of the right leg, pretty big inner groin opener for the front of the left hip, but also a low back stretch since you are folding. For another 3, 2, and 1. From this position, you're gonna lean into your left hip. You're gonna take your right leg forward. You can either stay seated with the legs out in front of you, or the other option is just to cross one leg in front of the other. See if you can sit upright, chest high. Hands are placed on your thighs. Take a few moments in your seat, feel the work that you've done. I'm hoping you feel like things are slowing down and you're getting grounded. That's the biggest goal here. Thank you so much for practicing with me here. I hope I get to practice with you again.